Good day. Now let's talk about pragmatism. So, what are the silent features of pragmatism as one of the philosophies of education, and how does it give impact to education? So, let's start. First, let us define what is a pragmatic theory. A pragmatic theory is a theory of learning for the future, advocates the teaching of preparedness to respond in a creative way. This includes the ability to act imaginatively in situations of uncertainties. The term pragmatism came from the Greek phrases practice and action. So it states that pragmatism in education should focus on life and action. So that means to say that the topics that students learn in school should have practical applications to their current or future situations. So school should not only teach information but also help students to grow as people. Now, here is an American philosopher and educator who was a co founder of the Pragmatism. He is John Dewey. According to him, pragmatism holds the key on his view of continuous meetings of individuals and environment as experimental and playful. So, he is known for his principle on hands on activity or hands on based learning. And through that, he encouraged that in learning, it should be a child centered. So, teachers should implement a strategy that may lead or show the interest to meet the student's interest. So, say for example, the project based activities, experimentation, or any experiential activity so that the students can explore and discover learning. So I have here a characteristics of a pragmatic approach to learning. First is learning should be practical. So when we talk about practical, is education should apply it to the real world. So it is an important aspect of pragmatism in education with focuses on authentic application of knowledge. Next is experiential learning is important. So instead of um, teaching the students all about the information, why not discover it for themselves? So instead of passive absorption of knowledge or info, students must learn through practice or real experience. So, as I have said, let the students explore. Next is a learner centered strategy is an aspect of pragmatism in education. So this means that teacher should act as a mentor, not directly on teaching the teaching the students, but let the students grow or learn independently and they may think critically. The last is it prioritizes real world results as well as students' needs and interests. It means to say that in planning for a lesson or in a curriculum content, it should be planned well. That means it gives emphasis on the practical results. So teachers must be flexible and adaptable, meaning willing to change the approaches in the classroom just to fit the needs and interests of the students. So means that experience and experimentation are the building blocks of knowledge. So that means that instructions should apply the real world application. So I have here the four principles of pragmatism in education. First, we have the principle of utility, principle of interest, principle of experience, and principle of integration. Now let's talk it one by one. First is we have the principle of utility. According to Adelier 2017, that any human activity is evaluated in terms of its consequences or results. If the activity results in utility, then it is true. So when we talk about utility, it should be useful. So we make things relevant and useful to the students. So with that, the educator should provide and opportunities or activities that the students will learn hands-on. So example of that is the real-based activity or an experimentation. And of course, the teacher should think of an activity that it must be linked to the real life situation. Next is the principle of interest. Curriculum content should also include the students' interests. So according to Dewey, students have four interests. First, conversation, investigation, construction, and creative expression. So Dewey emphasizes on the cooperation and collaboration because according to him, through social interaction, students can learn best. And after all, um we talk every day in our life. So teachers should encourage the students to share knowledge. As it is said, two heads are better than one. So there are advantages when we let the students to collaborate because it developed the critical interpretation interpersonal abilities like communication and teamwork. Next, we have principle of experience. A pragmatic teacher always focusing on getting students to get active. Students learn the theory and applies it in practical situation. The pragmatic motto is learning by doing. As I've said, teachers should therefore create a lot of project-based experiment and experiential lessons that help children learn by doing because knowledge based on experience is true, genuine, and worthy of acquisition. Next, we have the principle of integration. The pragmatic teacher links the curriculum content together through a process we call integration. The pragmatic thinking in education supports an interdisciplinary approach to teaching and learning. Teachers should show students how concepts from different subjects are related to each other and encourage a holistic understanding of the topics. So, based on experience, we, the teacher, when we design a lesson, we must see to it that our lesson should, other subjects also will be integrated to our lesson because it is a very helpful to the students that we show how concepts from different subjects are related to each other, and through that we encourage a holistic understanding. Okay, so what is the role of a pragmatic teacher and how a pragmatist view the children? So pragmatic role of a pragmatic teacher's role is of course she facilitates active learning. So the teacher does not directly teach content but facilitate active learning. And he is being flexible to modify the teaching strategies to suit the needs of specific students. The children also or the students are active, competent and capable of seeking out or finding solutions to the problems in their lessons as they learn to think independently and critically. So, what's the purpose of pragmatism? I believe that education is The purpose of education is to prepare our students for the future. So it means to say students are taught to their capacity, not being dictated. I believe that the purpose of education also is to support students in finding their purpose. What's that purpose? In preparation for future life. Because we need people who think independently, creatively, innovatively, and critically. We need to boost students' confidence to face the world, to live a rapidly changing, technologically advanced, and globalized world. So students must be resilient with that changing world. And I believe that pragmatism is the best philosophy of education. Thank you for listening.